Well, it's another cold, miserable, wet, rainy day outside, so I'm here in the shop, and I think it's time we pulled this CP4 pump back out again and put this rebuilt original back in. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome back to the shop. This is our 2013 Mitsubishi FUSO FG, and whether it wants to or not, one of these days, I'm gonna make it start. I've replaced the fuel, I've replaced the lift pump, I've swapped out the CP4 high pressure fuel pump and installed a disaster prevention kit, rebuilt and cleaned the injectors, replaced the rail, replaced sensors in the exhaust, replaced the exhaust fluid, swapped the starter, checked the timing, checked the codes. There are none. I'm getting pretty close to being out of things that it could be, but I haven't confirmed that the fuel pump that I swapped in was actually operational. So now that I've torn my old fuel pump apart, put a couple pieces in it, cleaned it up, we're gonna throw it back in and see if we can get fuel pressure. With the amount of time and the number of things that I've looked at, checked, inspected, changed, swapped out, I don't really have high expectations that the truck will start after anything that I do. But one of these times, it's going to work. Now, I've spent a lot of time standing here, working right here. And I just figured something out that saves me a lot of headache, and I want to show you. I often throw my tools on top of the tire. It's a pretty handy spot being right beside where you're working, but the problem is the more tools you put there, they start to slide off the tire. Standing at my toolbox, collecting the tools to start this job, I looked up and I saw a magnetic parts tray and I thought, that'll hold my wrenches. Nice and easy, within reach of where I'm working, and they're not gonna slide off. I guess that just shows when you do stuff for long enough, the solutions just kind of present themselves. Hopefully, that's what happens today with this fuel pump. After setting the engine to cylinder 1 top dead center, remove the hard line that goes from the fuel pump to the rail. For this, you'll need a 19mm wrench and a 10mm socket. Unless you've installed the custom disaster prevention kit that I showed you how to do several videos back, the next bit is going to be a little bit different because my fuel lines are not stock. The fuel line that I've used really holds on tight to these hose barbs, so a little persuasion is needed to get them moving. Next, we want to take the oil filter housing off, and for that we're going to handily grab our 13mm wrench and start by loosening off the vent plug on the top. I doubt there's any oil sitting in there in my housing, but if your engine has been running recently, you're gonna wanna let it drain out. After that, we're gonna use a 32mm socket to take the housing off, and then we'll pull the filter out. Now, to keep any small bits of debris from going in there, I'm just gonna protect it with some shop paper towel. This will get soaked in oil with what's left in there, but that's okay. Just to stop any big chunks of engine debris falling in there. With the oil filter removed and this fuel line removed, it's much easier to get at the two fuel fittings back here. The other thing I've done is remove this power steering hose from its bracket. A little bit hard to see. It just gives you just a tiny bit of space. You can see the bracket here, and that's what it would be bolted to. So just that little bit more space helps with swinging the wrench in there. Again, some persuasion is needed to get the fuel line moving. This is a tight spot, but it is possible to get a screwdriver and a hook tool in there. Woo, that hose holds on tight. It is slowly coming off. You can see somewhere back in there maybe. Yoink. There's just starting to be a little bit of a gap at the bottom, so it is coming up. I've got that clamp completely unbolted. We'll get there. The stock fuel line setup is the same, so stick with it and eventually you'll get the line off. Now that the fuel supply is out of the way because it runs over top of the return on my setup, I should be able to just squeeze the two tabs on each side of the return fitting and theoretically pull up at the same time. A little hard to do with the camera in one hand, but there we go. Pulled it up and that should come up and off as well. All right, so now our fuel supply and fuel return are removed from the pump. Our bypass kit is disconnected. Our high pressure fuel line is removed. We should be able to unbolt the pump and take it out. On the front side of the pump, there is a 10mm bolt. We want to pull that out using a small ratchet or gear wrench and put the bolt somewhere safe. The next part is pretty much impossible to see what you're doing, let alone capture on video, but handily, I can show you on this CP4 pump. So the 10mm bolt that I just took out is right here. It's pretty much at the top. The next bolt is down underneath this, and you can see this just behind that power steering line bracket. The third bolt is in the back. You can't see this at all. What you have to do is get in behind the pump and into it, and of course, there's no room here. That's the main reason why we take the oil filter housing out. 10mm bolt was up here. The first main mounting bolt, let me see, right there. You can just see it, and that is very difficult to get at. Beyond difficult is the impossible on the back. Most likely chance of success, you're going to want to start with a 13mm angle head that you can adjust gear wrench. Once you manage to get that into place, you'll be able to wiggle back and forth 1 or 2 clicks of the wrench at a time and slowly work that bolt out. Once cracked free, you'll probably find, though still painfully slow, it's slightly quicker to work the bolt out with your fingertips. At times, your brain will likely suggest that there are easier ways of doing it, and if you follow the shop manual and remove the power steering line and the entire oil filter housing, there may be a little bit more space, but to me that sounds like a lot more work. If you do drop the bolt or the big long spacer tube that it goes through, don't worry, they're much easier to access after the pump is out. Just don't drop them when you're trying to put them in. Now for the fun part, the back bolt. In my experience, this difficult to get at and almost impossible to see bolt does not require special tooling to get out, but it does require specific tooling. My 13mm shallow 3/8 drive on a ratchet doesn't quite fit. And if you do somehow manage to be able to get it in there, you're not going to be able to get it off once you start loosening the bolt. So what I end up using is a 1/4 drive shallow 13mm socket, and here's where that runs me into a problem. For some reason, years ago when I bought my tool set, it didn't come with a 13mm shallow 1/4 drive socket. It came with 2 12s. So when I got to this point just now, I was scratching my head trying to remember how I did it. And thankfully, just before I gave up to go watch my own video to see how I did it, I remembered I keep a spare emergency tool set in my truck. Difficult to see, even more difficult to capture on camera, but this is the tail end of my 1/4 drive ratchet. Over top we can see a little bit where it goes in, and in behind here you can kind of see the edge of my socket. That's currently on the head of the bolt. Now what you need to be very cautious of, let's see if I can turn the lighting up in edit, but the gap between the head of my ratchet and the fixed part of the engine block is about 1/2 inch. You need to pull that bolt out farther than that, so as you start loosening this bolt, at some point you will need to switch from the ratchet and socket to ideally a ratcheting wrench so that you have full clearance to get it all the way out. It's no less painfully slow or physically easier than the lower bolt, and no matter what angle you try, you can't shine a flashlight and see it at the same time. This is a by-feel bolt and you just need to stick with it. You'll probably drop and have to extract your tools more than once. Your fingers and hand might cramp up and you'll dream of tools that will properly fit in here, but eventually it will come out. One of the problems that you'll likely run into is that at some point the bolt will get loose enough that the ratchet just spins in both directions, and that means you've got to get your hand in there and use your fingers to get it out the rest of the way. Oh. Yeah. With all the bolts out, it's time for the square peg round hole game you might remember from when you were a kid. You'll need to rotate the pump as you remove it in order to clear the oil filter housing. Woo! If you've made it this far removing your pump, give yourself a break, have a sip of coffee, and relax for a moment. Okay, let's go. Before I put the new old pump back in, there's a couple things that I want to check and do. First is pick up the pieces that I dropped while I was taking the bottom bolt out. That's my bottom spacer. And if you're taking your pump out, make sure that you don't leave this piece behind in the engine. It'll be much harder to get things to line up. I also want to take note of where these tabs are so I can line my new pump up in the same position so that it's not impossible to get back in. And with the two pumps side by side, we can see that this tab and this tab are both in the same position. So this pump should go back in fairly easily, clocked the same as this pump came out. And then the last thing that I want to do is I'm going to reach up inside here and see if by any chance I can turn what drives the pump. Because if I can turn that by hand, it means it's not connected to whatever should be driving it, which would mean that my pump is never going to spin. Once again, this is a spot that's impossible to see, but you can get a camera in there, and here's what it looks like. So there's a Torx drive in the back of what is driven by the timing chain. I don't have a Torx drive that big, but for the purposes of what I'm trying to do, this 9/16 Allen drive fits in snugly enough that I'll be able to see if I can turn it. Now, let me be clear, I'm not trying to turn this. I'm just trying to make sure that it can't turn. If I was able to turn this, it would mean I'm either turning the engine over by hand with a wrench from the fuel pump drive, or it's broken. So the result we're looking for here is that this does not turn. And with a reasonable amount of force on that, I would expect if this was broken, I would be able to turn it. And there is no play and no movement. So that tells me with some level of confidence that it's pretty likely that this fuel pump is being driven by the chain. One last thing I need to do before swapping the new pump, old pump, back in, is move the block-off plate from the disaster prevention kit onto the other pump. With that swapped, it's reverse square peg round hole game time, and this time with the camera at an angle you can see. You'll want the front of the pump tipped up, and as you get it closer into position, you'll rotate it so the nose of the drive pops into the hole, and then you can slide it in. Once you get the pump back in place, you'll probably find it still takes quite a bit of wiggling and jiggling around, and you may even need to take it out and put it back in a few times before you can get the two splines or dogs to actually line up. And when you're putting these bolts back in, you really want to make sure that you don't drop them, because once they go under the pump, it's virtually impossible to get them out without taking the pump out again. And getting that lower bolt into position is nothing but fun. I highly recommend that you get both bolts in place and at least started by a few threads before you tighten one or the other up, because if not, you're guaranteed to drop the other one and need to take everything back out and start over. A flathead screwdriver will likely help you position the ratchet on the lower bolt, as there is almost no room here, and the flex head of the wrench will fight you. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not a very fun job. It is definitely not a quick job, even though really there's only a couple of bolts. These things move a millimeter of rotation at a time, and it takes forever. You'll probably get to a point where you want to throw something. I can almost guarantee you'll drop something. If you don't have one of these tools, you should probably get one. You'll need to take a break once in a while and eat something so you don't get hangry, but eventually you'll get it back in. And if you stick with it a little bit longer, you'll end up with a system that's completely back together. So let's see what the results are. Does my patience pay off, and is the truck finally going to start? Sounds like there's a bunch of air getting pushed out of there. Oh, and it's pissing out all over the place. Whoa! That's not what we want at all. Yeah! Where's that coming from? That's fun.
El teléfono al que usted llama tiene restringidas temporalmente las llamadas entrantes.